Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I am doing an impromptu episode. I did not have this planned, and I told Alana, hey, I want to record a quick episode on gaslighting. I know we just re-aired an old episode on gaslighting, and maybe that's why this was heavy on my mind. But today I want to share a real life example that I came across in a neighborhood group chat because it perfectly parallels what so many of you are experiencing when it comes to betrayal trauma and especially gaslighting. And sometimes these everyday interactions happen in communities, and it can be such a clear metaphor for what happens in our primary relationship, in our closest relationship. So let me back up. And I was reading through the Facebook neighborhood chat, and a neighbor had posted that they had witnessed someone grilling using their grill, their propane grill, inside their garage. Now, if you think about that for a second, like, it's risky. It's very risky, to the point where they had called the fire department just to confirm the risk. Like, maybe I'm making this up. And no, they confirmed. The fire department was like, yes, this is actually very dangerous, but unfortunately, it's not illegal, and there's nothing that we can technically do in that situation. Kind of like, sorry, you're right, but sorry, can't do anything about it. Well, I mean, just the fire, the smoke, it can fill the house. I mean, there's all kinds of risks there, right? And of course, being in a neighborhood, this particular neighbor's house right next to the so said neighbor grilling in their garage, it puts their house at risk, and then all other neighborhood houses at risk. And they were concerned. So they spoke up and they put this in the public forum. And at first it was, hey, am I crazy? Like, this doesn't seem safe. Then they decided to investigate a little bit more. Okay, no, I'm not crazy. This really isn't safe. What can we do about this as a neighborhood? Because we're all at risk here. Well, then came the responses, and one response in particular, and it was, it's not illegal, so nothing to report. Hey, look, there's ventilation. And by the way, why is this any of your business? Then came the comment of, lighting a candle is just as risky, so should we just stop doing that? And just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Again, why is this your business? Why are you bringing this up? Why are you posting about it? Now, you can probably already hear the minimizing, the dismissing, the reframing that is happening in these comments to the concerned neighbor. And as I'm reading through this back and forth interaction, I'm like, oh, okay, we have this method of gaslighting. We're changing the validity. We're creating some confusion. We're like, a little bit of Darvo's happening. And I was restraining myself of getting involved in adding fuel to the fire, so to speak, pun intended. So I didn't, but it did elicit the idea to talk about this on podcast, because what I am seeing is such a parallel between the betrayed partner and the betrayer, because this is often the dynamic that I see. I see betrayed partners finding themselves in. So like the concerned neighbor, you notice danger. You see the risks. You know that the choices that your partner is making don't just impact them. It impacts you, your family, your shared life, the collective. Then you speak up about it. When you speak up about it, then oftentimes my betrayed partners hear these same types of responses. You're overreacting. Everyone does this, or it's not illegal, so it's not a problem. You're just being controlling. These types of responses are a form of gaslighting. They minimize the real risk, and they're shifting the focus from the dangerous behavior back onto you as if you were the problem for even noticing. Now, the gaslighting methods in this exchange that I was noticing, again, if I'm really going to break this down, which, yes, this is what my brain does. When other people might be watching Netflix, I'm reading my neighborhood chats and I'm psychoanalyzing. Yes, that's what I do. And then I'm bringing it to you. All right. So I did. I broke it down. I'm like, okay, what methods am I noticing here? And psychologically, what I'm noticing is the minimization and the trivializing of this risky behavior of firing up your grill inside a garage. So where I noticed that was the comment of, it's like lighting a candle. Should we just not light candles anymore? That statement right there makes the risk of the other incident, of the incident in question that's actually happening, grilling inside the garage, sound silly or small. Then we have deflection or the whataboutisms, right? Bringing up unrelated examples to change the subject. Lighting a candle in the house is not the subject. It's not the concern. It's not the perceived threat or risk that this neighbor has concerned. And again, if we're paralleling it to the betrayed partner didn't bring up the candle, brought up grilling. And then we have projection. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's wrong. Now, again, we're shifting the issue into being about your preferences rather than their unsafe behavior. Your preference to my frequency of porn watching is the problem. So we're not actually talking about the issue and how this issue is impacting you as a partner. It's your preference is wrong. Now we're going to debate your preference. And then I noticed a little bit of attacking a boundary. So a little bit of baiting, like, well, why is this any of your business? And that comment from another neighbor's response, why is it your business? Again, turning the concern back on the person who raised the original concern of grilling, of an open grill in someone's garage. That's the concern. That's the risk. That's the threat. Now the focus is, why is this your business? Now you tell me, you now have to tell me why this is your business. What's even more painful is when you start doing this to yourself, when you self-gaslight. So after enough minimizing and dismissing from other people, you might catch yourself thinking, oh, maybe I am reacting. Okay, it's not illegal, so maybe I should just let it go. And I started to see a little bit of that in the original concerned neighbor's response. They started to throw some emojis in there to soften their concern and get a collective agreement, right? Like, okay, I don't want to come across, I'm going to minimize my concern, laugh at myself a little bit. We do this as betrayed partners. We start, when there's been enough of that coming back on us, we start to do it to ourselves. Okay, well, maybe this is just what I guess marriage looks like. Maybe I am expecting too much out of a relationship because I really don't see other people having it any better. So maybe I am just expecting too damn much. I shouldn't make too big of a deal about this. That's the moment when gaslighting has done its deepest work. When it's no longer just coming from outside, it's running on the inside too. And as I was reading through these responses back and forth from these neighbors, the one that's rebuttaling and pushing back on the concerned neighbor continues to bring up the fact that it's not illegal. And the truth is, it doesn't have to be illegal to be unsafe. It doesn't have to burn a house down before you're allowed to say this isn't right. Many of you are coming from the place where your house did burn to the ground, metaphorically speaking. And so now your nervous system is absolutely going to be on high alert and has a right to be on high alert. Your nervous system is designed now to pick up on the danger signals long before the flame starts. So when you notice that something is off, when you feel that gut alarm, it's not about being dramatic. It's about survival. This just goes back to my favorite principle, agency. You're allowed to name danger. You're allowed to say, this feels unsafe to me. That's enough. You don't need a courtroom. You don't need a neighbor's vote or a law to back you up before you set a boundary. Healthy relationships aren't just about freedom. They're about a shared responsibility and protecting each other's safety. If your partner or your community can't hold that, it doesn't mean that you're asking for too much. It means that they're unwilling or unable to show up with integrity. This neighbor responding was undermining the holder of the concern by making the person seem irrational or controlling or petty. I actually see this a lot in different group threads on social media. They're shifting reality, right? From this is a shared safety risk to this is a personal preference. Now they're removing validation as social proof, which now is essentially isolating the person who raised the alarm to begin with. In relationships, the betrayed partner is going to notice the risk or the danger. Then they're going to raise the alarm. hey, this isn't safe for me, and it could hurt all of us. Their concern is not only about themselves, but about the shared space of the relationship and the family system. And then the minimizing neighbor or the betraying partner, if we parallel this, their response of it's not illegal, it's really not a problem, you're overreacting. This parallels how oftentimes betrayed partners feel the minimizing impact, right? Everyone watches porn. I wasn't cheating. You're making a bigger deal out of this than it really is. They use false evidence. Comparing grilling in the garage to lighting a candle is like comparing a secret affair to a harmless crush. Reframing the danger as normal or not worth worrying about. Ultimately, when I'm reading through this, I see these underlining themes of safety versus freedom, where one person prioritizes emotional, physical safety, and the other person is prioritizing their freedom from accountability. I see legality versus integrity, right? It's not illegal. Stop. Why is it your business if it's not illegal? Versus because it does not equal not harmful. The same is true in a relationship. Betrayal may not break the law, but it breaks safety and trust. Then we're negating the responsibility that we have to other people, which is, in my opinion, a lack of humanity that is spreading wild. Being a good neighbor or partner means not just doing what you want, but also considering the ripple effect of your choices. So, in sharing this example with you, I wanted to bring light to how often I think this happens in our world and the impact that I see it have, especially on my betrayed partners who are trying to navigate their reality and navigate oftentimes the gaslighting methods, techniques, and tactics that come at them so frequently. But this neighborhood debate that I was reading about really, to me, mirrors such relational betrayal dynamics. And I just want you betrayed partners to know that you're not crazy for naming danger. That just because others don't see the risk doesn't mean that it isn't real, and that you are allowed to prioritize your safety, even if others argue that it's not a big deal or that other people don't see it as a big deal. Healthy relationships are not just about freedom, they're about a shared responsibility for the well being of each other. Safety in your relationship is not about the odds of danger. That's what I was really seeing. Like, okay, well, what are the odds of that actually happening? And comparing it again to the odds of something completely unrelated, like lighting a candle. Safety in a relationship isn't about the odds of danger. It's about the impact when danger is ignored. When the betrayer is minimizing, it doesn't make the risk smaller. It just makes the betrayed partner feel smaller. Boundaries, boundaries, like we always talk about, but boundaries don't require community approval and they don't require the approval of your partner or even people around you. They are yours to set. Notice for you betrayed partners where you might be the concerned neighbor in your relationship, pointing out the dangers to your partner that maybe they're wanting to minimize. And then ask yourself, how have I internalized gaslighting? Like, what do you notice about the way that you dismiss your own instincts? What happens in your body when someone says you're overreacting? Maybe practice pausing and noticing and honoring your body's wisdom in that moment. I really just want to leave you with this. You don't need permission to name what's unsafe. You don't need everyone around you to agree before you set a boundary. And you don't need the law to tell you. And when I say law, parallel, you don't need anybody else to tell you what your body already knows. Your safety matters, your voice matters. And the very fact that you are listening right now tells me that you're already reclaiming your right to truth. You're seeking it. I want to invite you to own it. And if you are someone listening who has been the betrayer, I want you to hear this too. When your partner raises a safety concern, it is not an attack. It is not them trying to control you. It is a signal that trust has been broken. They don't feel safe in the relationship. And if your response is to minimize, to legalize, or to throw back false comparisons, you're not just dodging responsibility. You are reinforcing the very wound that needs healing. Because safety in a relationship isn't about doing the bare minimum of not illegal. It is about showing up with integrity, with care, and with a true willingness to protect the shared space in that relationship. And so if you want to rebuild trust, if that is your true intent, by listening without defensiveness, validating the fear instead of dismissing it, and asking, what do you need right now to feel safe with me? I am always encouraging my betrayed partners to believe that their healing does not depend on convincing their partner or anyone else that the fire risk is real. Their healing depends on reclaiming their right to trust their own senses, their own body, and their own truth. So hopefully this example of what happens in my neighborhood, I'm not sure what y'all's neighborhood communication looks like back and forth, but thank you for allowing me to psychoanalyze what I noticed in public. I hope the parallel example helps you see a little bit more clearly what might be happening in your own relationships. I can't remember if we said this in our past episode, but I cannot stress enough, if you want to become an expert in gaslighting, head over to sarahmorales.com. She has a workbook now to help go through the methods, techniques, and tactics around gaslighting. Becoming the expert means that you become free from the impact. Whether or not someone in your life stops the gaslighting behavior, when you are more aware of it, then you stop being impacted by it. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. We will see you next week. And as always, continue to choose recovery, choose healing, and choose you. Take care, everybody.
Hi, this is Hallie Roderick, and I want to personally invite you to join me and our team for the upcoming Courage to Thrive Intensive happening October 14th through the 17th in beautiful Spanish Fork, Utah. This 4-day experience is designed specifically for women who have experienced betrayal and are ready to take the next courageous steps on their healing journey. Whether you're just beginning to process the pain or you've been navigating this journey for years, this intensive will give you practical tools, supportive guidance, and somatic practices to help you reconnect with your body, set healthy boundaries, and reclaim control over your life. By the end of our time together, you'll leave with a renewed sense of hope, strength, and purpose, ready to step forward with courage and confidence, knowing betrayal no longer defines your life. If you feel called to take this next step, please check the show notes for all the details. I would love to welcome you to this upcoming transformative experience.
Hey, ladies, I want to tell you about something that could be the next step in your healing journey. It's my group coaching program, Believing in You. And it was created for women like you who've been through betrayal, abuse, or deep relationship pain and are ready to reconnect with yourself again. Believe in you again. Because when your world is shattered, it's not just the relationship that breaks, it's your belief in your own worth, your voice, your intuition, your future. And I get it. I live that. That's why I created a space where you don't have to figure it out alone. Each week, I coach you live, teaching tools, concepts, worksheets galore to help you really become more aware of what your old beliefs are and helping you shift into new beliefs. Teaching tools that actually support your nervous system healing and help you shift the beliefs that are keeping you stuck. You'll also get resources between sessions and be surrounded by a community of women who totally understand. It isn't about whether you're staying or leaving. It's about you choosing and learning to believe that you can trust yourself. You can heal, you can love, you can create something beautiful on the other side of this, no matter what the other person in the relationship does. You get a free 7-day trial. So come feel it out. If you've been doing this work and you're ready to take it deeper, or maybe you're just starting and you want a safe, supportive place to land, this is for you. Apply today and let's believe in you again.